Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. From October 30th, 2020 through November 20th, 2020, if you use this promo code, you will automatically be entered into a drawing to win a Commander Legends Draft Booster Box. Also, there is another way to enter where no purchase is necessary. See the link in the description below for full details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another episode of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. The big news this week, of course, has been the Commander Legends previews. Obviously, some of those preview cards are already having an impact on the prices of cards in the secondary market. You're going to see that throughout the video today. Plus, there's other things happening in the market, which we'll also discuss as we go. One quick note about this video, I still haven't worked the cards from the list into this series yet. The prices are still highly unstable, so I'll keep watching them. Maybe in another week or two, we'll start getting them in here as well. Quickly before we get started though, just a fast reminder, if you go to FlipsideGaming.com, you can use the Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently on the website, there's a lot of stuff to choose from. You can pre-order Commander Legends products there, including the Commander decks. They also have Zendikar Rising products restocked, like the Collector Boosters as well as Set Boosters. As a matter of fact, if you want to pick up a Set Booster box, after you use the promo code, it goes down to $107.10, and that does include shipping in the United States. Also, too, whenever you use the promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated, so thank you. And without any further ado, let's get into it. We're going to begin, as we always do, with Standard in your top 7 standard legal cards that have lost value this week. Coming in at number 7 is Leyline Tyrant. This goes down 72 cents to $7.22. Now, this card had a lot of hype around it during the pre-release time, going into the release time, and for good reason. It's a fantastic Commander card. Not seeing a lot of standard play right now, but you can find this in a number of different Commander builds, things like Neheb the Eternal, the Dragon, Morag Fury of Akum. But now the packs are getting cracked and this card is getting into circulation, it is softening up a little bit. Number 6 is Brazen Borrower. This is a fantastic card, but it was reprinted on the list in its showcase card frame. This copy from Throne of Eldraine goes down 81 cents this week to $17.10. Now, you're going to find this in a lot of standard decks, Dimir Rogues, Dimir Control, and more. Also sees Pioneer, Modern, and Legacy play. Beyond that, this is a great card in Commander 2. It's seeing play in a lot of builds, including the very popular Anawan the Rune Thief. Number 5 is Kroxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. This goes down 81 cents to $19.28. You'll find this in standard decks like Rakdos Midrange and Grixis Control. In Pioneer, it's in Rakdos Pyromancer. Also sees a lot of Modern play in a few different builds. Additionally, it's a fairly popular commander, and it is in the 99 of many decks there too. Number 4 is Scourge of the Skyclaves. This card continues to retract this week as more copies get into circulation. It goes down 94 cents to $13.94. Not seeing too much standard play, but this does see play in modern Death Shadow builds and more there. Also combos with Archfiend of Despair and Commander, and you'll find it in a lot of different builds there too, including Nethroi Apex of Death. Number 3 is Grim Tutor, the one from Starter 1999. It was stable for a while, but it does creep down a little bit this week, $1 to $168.99. Now, this of course has been soft since the reprinting occurred in Core Set 2021. Like a lot of the cards we're talking about in this section, it doesn't see a lot of standard play or anything like that, but it is a tutor. You know it's going to see play in Commander builds. Some new builds are running this too in the format: Anawan the Rune Thief, Vito Thorn of the Duskgrows, and Tiny Bones Trinket Thief. Number 2 is another popular Commander card finding its price point now that more copies are getting into circulation. It is Lithoform Engine, down $1.22 to $16.02. Another card that hasn't seen much standard play, but in Commander it's in a whole lot of different builds, including some new ones again like Verazal the Split Current and Omnith Locus of Creation. Number 1 is Azusa Lost But Seeking. The original from Champions of Kamigawa goes down $1.97 this week to $22.62. Another card that was reprinted in Core Set 2021, and another card that doesn't see a whole lot of standard play. However, in Modern, you'll find this in Amulet Titan builds, which are very popular. It's also a good Commander card. This is in a lot of places there. And again, you'll find this in some new decks as well, like Omnith Locus of Creation and Obun Moldaya Ancestor. And that brings us to the top 6 standard legal cards that have gained value this week. Number 6 is Ralgren Triome. These Triomes have been wildly popular. This one goes up 18 cents to $6.50 this week. In Standard, you'll find this in Azorius Blink, Esper Doom Foretold, and more. Also sees Pioneer, Modern, and a lot of Commander play. Number 5, Ugin the Spirit Dragon from Core Set 2021. It goes up 18 cents this week to $24.17. You'll find this one in Temur Ramp, Dimir Control, and more in Standard. Also sees play in decks in Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, and it is a highly played Commander card. Number 4 is Arcane Signet, up 19 cents to $4.89. Remember, you can find these in the Throne of Eldraine draft booster packs, you can find them in the Brawl decks, and you could also find them in collector boosters. Now, since then, this card has been reprinted in Commander 2020 products. It's also in the Zendikar Rising Commander decks. And beyond that, it's going to show up in Commander Legends as well. Even with all these printings, this card is creeping up a little bit this week. It is a wildly popular card in Commander. It's a staple in the format now. And it also did get a Command Zone mention this week. And number 3 is Chromatic Orrery. This is another highly played Commander card in numerous builds. It goes up 22 cents this week to $10.90. Number 2 is Korvold Fakehurst King. This is the non-foil copy that you'll find in collector boosters as opposed to the foil copy that comes in the Savage Hunger Brawl deck. This one goes up 24 cents to $7 this week. Now, this card isn't really seeing any standard play currently, but it is a very popular commander and does show up in the 99 of a lot of other builds in that format too. Number 1 is Rankle Master of Pranks. Now, this does see a lot of standard play. It goes up 55 cents to $12.85, and you'll find this in Rakdos Midrange, Golgari Adventures, sometimes Dimir Rogues, and more in the format. Also, too, in Pioneer, it's in Mono Black Aggro, and it sees commander play in builds like Anawan the Rune Thief, Tiny Bones Trinket Thief, and much more. And that takes us to Pioneer and your top 9 Pioneer legal cards that have lost value this week. Number 9 is Ramanap Excavator. This card's been really hot recently, but it is retracting down a little bit this week, down 81 cents to $13.58. Doesn't see a whole lot of Pioneer play, but in Modern you will find this in Eladamri's Toolbox decks. Also, it sees a fair amount of Legacy play, but it is a huge Commander card, which is why it has been hot recently. This has seen increased play in that format in Omnith Locus of Creation, Obun Moldiah Ancestor, and more. Additionally, lands builds are getting even more support from Commander Legends. We've been seeing that in the previews. Number 8 is Kozilek the Great Distortion. Very popular commander, and this goes down 96 cents this week to $12. Maybe you'll have a shot soon to pick it up at a slightly cheaper price. Now, recently, that particular deck has been hot because it did get a push from a Zendikar Rising card, Forsaken Monument. This can also be found in some other commander builds as well, of course. Number 7 is Cyclonic Rift from Commander 2014. It goes down 99 cents to $20, and these cards continue to be soft ever since the reprinting in Double Masters. This does see a little Pioneer play from time to time, and it also sees a little Modern play in Mono Blue Tron, but of course this is a highly played commander card, and it is in some new builds too, like Omnith Locus of Creation and Anawan the Rune Thief. Number 6 is the Morningtide copy of Scape Shift. It goes down $1.05 to $23.72. This card's been hot recently because of Zendikar Rising. It is retracting some this week, although you're going to see another copy of this card going up in a few moments. Now, this does see Modern play in Scape Shift builds, but the reason it's been as hot as it has been recently, again, is Commander. This is in lands builds and more. Also, it's in new builds like Omnith Locus of Creation and Obun Moldiah Ancestor, for example. Number 5, Aurelia, the War Leader. This is the copy from the Guilds of Ravnica Boros Guild Kit. This particular copy only comes in foil. It goes down $1.07 to $16.31 this week. This is a fairly popular commander. It's also in Kali of the Vast, which of course was reprinted in Double Masters not too long ago. Additionally, it's in new builds like Akiri Fearless Voyager. But the reason this card is losing this much value right now is because it did have a spike which felt maybe a little unnatural not too long ago. It's just trying to find its correct price point now. Number 4, Rise of the Dark Realms. This is the copy from Jumpstart trying to find its price point. It goes down $1.20 to $15.47. Good commander card in builds like Anawan the Rune Thief and Tiny Bones Trinket Thief. Number 3 is the original Darksteel Forge from, wait for it, Darksteel. It goes down $1.27 to $15.11. This was reprinted in Double Masters, which is why it has been soft recently. It does see play in Commander, Kozilek the Great Distortion builds, and more. Number 2, Omnith Locus of Creation, down $2.26 to $14.38. The main reason this is going down is because it was recently banned in Standard, but the card is seeing a ton of play in a lot of different places. In Pioneer, it's in Nib to Light, 4-color Omnith, Yorion Ramp, sometimes Wilderness Reclamation. Modern, it's in Uro Piles, Nib to Light, Copycat, 5-color Elementals, and more there. And it's a huge commander card. You hear me talk about it all the time. Various cards are going up because it's part of that build. Also, it shows up in the 99 of some decks there too. And number 1, another card that has been spiking pretty wildly, really ever since Zendikar Rising was first previewed and then released. It is Crucible of Worlds. Now finally retracting, 10th edition goes down $1.66 to $51.40. Core Set 2019 down $1.89 to $43.25. 5th Dawn down $10.67 to $48. Now this does see play in decks in Modern and Legacy, maybe not as much as it used to see a number of months ago. This is a huge commander card though, and has seen increased play in builds like Omnith Locus of Creation and Obun Moldaya Ancestor. That brings us to the top 5 Pioneer legal cards that have gained value this week, and much like things have been for a while now, the main driver for cards going up in value continues to be Commander. You'll notice that from this point forward in the video. Number 5 is Mox Amber, up 87 cents to $21.31. This does see a good amount of Commander play. I do think this bump is partially due to the fact that we're seeing a lot of interesting legendary creatures and planeswalkers coming out of Commander Legends previews. Number 4 is the other copy of Scapeshift I promised. This is the one from Core Set 2019. It goes up $1.34 to $22.49. Number 3 is Glinthorn Buccaneer, up $1.94 to $3.04 this week. This has been known to be a part of combos at times in Commander. Currently, you'll find it in builds like Brawlin and Shabraz and Rael the Everwise, as well as many others. But the reason it's moving up this much right now is Commander Legends previews. Turns out the Pirate Tribe is all over the place in the previews as well as the leaks we saw prior to the previews. And it has a lot of players interested in putting together Pirate Tribal decks for Commander. The Pirates there also tie into a treasure token sub-theme as well, so keep that in mind. Number 2 is another pirate, and this one is legendary. It is Admiral Beckett Brass. This goes up $2.10 to $4.49. Fairly popular commander currently, only going to become more popular when Commander Legends comes out. And number 1 is Scheming Symmetry. This goes up $4.27 to $7.76, and this has always been a fun commander card. You'll find it in some popular builds too, like Anawan the Rune Thief and Iroquois the Tiger's Shadow, for example. But now there's a card from Commander Legends that is pushing this a little this week. That card is Opposition Agent. And that's going to take us to the world of Modern. Welcome to your top 6 Modern legal cards that have lost value this week. Number 6 is an enemy fetch land. It is Verdant Catacombs. This is the copy from Zendikar, down $2.61 to $56.07. And as you know, these enemy fetches have been reprinted a few times recently. Most recently in Zendikar Rising as Expeditions there. And also we know that the enemy fetches are going to be in Modern Horizons 2 next year as well. So they are softening up a little bit, but they still are going to be wildly popular. In the example of this one, it does see Modern play in Jund builds and more there. And like all fetch lands, this also sees play in Legacy, Vintage, and Commander as well. Number 5 is Wrenn and 6 from Modern Horizons. This was reprinted on the list. It goes down $2.69 this week to $60.31. You'll find this in a lot of builds in Modern, Uro Piles, Copycat, Jund, and more. This is banned in Legacy, but does see some Commander play. It's also a popular Commander card in lands builds and more, seeing increased play nowadays in Omnith Locus of Creation and Obun Moldaya Ancestor. Number 4 is Wrath of God from Portal. Now granted, Portal cards can be very unstable. This one goes down $2.70 this week to $11.68. But part of the reason for this is the reprinting of this card in the list. The version of the card they used was the Portal version, as a matter of fact, which is pretty unique. Recently, this also got a reprinting in Double Masters. As far as the card itself goes, it sees a little modern play, but it is a highly played Commander board sweep. Number 3, Thrumming Stone. This also got reprinted on the list. You can kind of see a trend here. This copy from Cold Snap goes down $3.03 to $41.20. And this has been popular recently in Commander in those Bruvak the Grandiloquent builds with Persistent Petitioners. Number 2 is Kozilek Butcher of Truth from Modern Masters 2015, going down $4.14 this week to $55.85, although there's another copy going up you're going to see later in the video. In Modern, you'll find this in some Tron builds and more. Sometimes it's in Legacy Mono Green Cloudpost, and in Commander it's in Kozilek the Great Distortion and more there. Number 1, Aboro Palace in the Clouds. This card was spiking pretty aggressively not too long ago, but over the last few weeks it has been retracting. This week it goes down $4.84 to $48. Now, the reason it was popular recently was Zendikar Rising and the focus on landfall. This is perfect in Commander builds that want lands to come into play very consistently, and it has seen increased play in that format in Omnith Locus of Creation builds, also sees a little modern play in mill decks and more. That takes us to the top 7 modern legal cards that have gained value this week. Coming in at number 7 is Cloudstone Curio from Ravnica City of Guilds. It goes up $2.38 to $34.74 this week. Now, this has been a popular Commander card for a long time. It is seeing some increased play now in Omnith Locus of Creation. It's also a part of many combos in the format. But the reason it's going up this much right now is because it is getting a push by a Commander Legends preview. And that card is Rogrock, Son of Rogoth. Notice this is a Kobold Warrior. We're going to be talking more about this card when we get to the vintage section for sure. But the reason it's good with Cloudstone Curio is simply because it is a 0 casting cost creature that happens to be legendary, so it could be your commander. And there's a number of ways to create combos with those cards. One example would be playing Dockside Extortionist as well. Number 6 is Bitter Blossom. Modern Masters 2015 goes up $1.04 to $36.11. Ultimate Masters goes up $1.89 to $37.99. And Morning Tide goes up $2.53 to $38.39. Now, this has seen increased commander play recently in Anawan the Rune Thief and Kjell's Fight Fixer. Also, this does see some modern play currently, but there is another reason this is going up in value, and again, it ties into Commander Legends. There are cards in the set that are supporting sacrifice mechanics, and this is a good card potentially in some future commander builds. One of the key cards already previewed that could be pushing this a little bit is Tevesh Zot, Doom of Fools. And if Bitter Blossom needed any additional help this week, it also got a Command Zone mention. Number 5 is Blood Moon, the original copy from the Dark. A lot of cards from the Dark have been hot. We saw that last week. We're going to see it later in the video too. This one goes up $2.87 this week to $53.36. This was reprinted in Double Masters recently, but it's not stopping this original copy. And this does see modern play in Blitz, Gruul Midrange, Mono Red Aggro, and more. Sees Legacy play as well. And it has been seeing more commander play recently too, sometimes in decks like Grenko Mob Boss or Godo Bandit Warlord. Both of those were recently reprinted. Number 4, Auriok Champion. This time it's the one from Iconic Masters, going up $3.55 to $13.99. You're going to find this in Modern Humans, Heliod Company, and more. It's also seen increased commander play recently in Aura Skyclave Hierophant decks. And also, too, some players that want to build around that Rick Grimes card in the very controversial Walking Dead Secret Lair, they might want this too. This could be decent in the Rick Steadfast Leader builds. Number 3, Polluted Delta from Onslaught, back again up $4.29 this week to $55.40. Now, this did get reprinted as a Zendikar Rising Expedition, but this original copy is still very hot right now. And we do know enemy fetches are going to be in Modern Horizons too, but Wizards did specifically say enemy fetches, which means we really don't know when the ally fetches will be reprinted again. Currently, this particular one sees play in Uro Piles, Mill, and more. Also, of course, like all fetch lands, it sees play in Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. Number 2 is Krark's Thumb. This is the one from Mirrodin. It just got reprinted in the list, and I don't have the list price here because it is going up as well. But like I said at the beginning of the video, those prices are really unstable right now. But this one is going up $11.22 to $16.94. This currently does see Commander play in Okaun and Zender Split builds, but it is jumping again because of a Commander Legends preview. And that preview card is Krark the Thumbless. This has a lot of Commander players excited about flipping coins again. And number 1, Marlin of the Mornsong. It goes up $33.37 to $40. This is another card moving up because of the Commander Legends preview Opposition Agent. But this one is a Morning Tide rare, so it's time to use my one per video. You know, you watch these videos all the time. During this time period in Magic, there was a recession in the game, less packs were cracked. So because less cards got into circulation, when there's interest in some of these cards that were never reprinted, especially rares, they tend to spike, and that's what you're seeing here. And that brings us to the Vintage Spotlight. This is where we talk about cards that see play in Vintage, Legacy, 93, 94, or cards that are just important among collectors, and in a lot of cases too, some buyouts that have been occurring. As I have been doing recently in this section, I'm only going to tell you if the card is not on the reserve list. First, we have Force of Will from Eternal Masters, not on the reserve list. It goes up $2.92 this week to $98.44. This was reprinted in Double Masters, rebounding back a little bit after it lost some value. This is a great card for Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. It also got a Command Zone mention this week. Badlands from Revised. There's a few Revised dual lands on the list today. This one goes up $3.29 to $341.60. Underground Sea from Revised up $3.67 to $6.63. Yawgmoth's Will from Urza Saga up $5.29 this week to $194.95. They did make a reprinting of this one though in a Judge Foil before they closed that loophole. And this does see play in Vintage and Commander. Mana Crypt, not on the reserve list. The original book giveaway copy goes up $5.48 to $317.99. Now, this has lost value because of the recent reprintings of this card. We had one in Mystery Boosters and one in Double Masters, but it is starting to rebound already. This is a great Vintage and Commander card. Also got a Command Zone mention this week. Raphalos Llanowar Emissary. I can't blame Commander for this. It is banned in Commander. This goes up $5.73 this week to $43 though, regardless. Disharmony goes up $13.36 to $79. King Suleiman goes up $15 to $147.57. Old Man of the Sea goes up $21.25 to $164.25. Repentant Blacksmith. This one's not on the reserve list and has been reprinted if you want a cheaper copy, but the Arabian Nights copy goes up $22.66 to $89.99 this week. Island of Wak Wak goes up $23.63 to $207.89. A lot of Arabian Nights cards on here this week. Cabal Drill Sergeant. This one is not on the reserve list. It goes up $23.66 this week to $29.54, and I bet you can't guess why. Of course, it is because of Rograk, Son of Roga, that we saw earlier. Mind Twist from Unlimited, not on the reserve list, but some of these Unlimited cards can get hot. This one goes up $24.99 to $104.99 this week. Blood Moon from Unlimited, again, not on the reserve list, going up $25.22 to $59.78. Alabara's Carpet goes up $26.39 to $54.98. Bayou from Revised up $26.83 to $439.97. City of Brass, not on the reserve list. The original copy from Arabian Nights goes up $28.75 this week to $296.45. This has been losing value, so it's just kind of bouncing back a little. There's Roga of Kirkheap. This, of course, moving up because of the sun we saw earlier. This goes up $29.04 to $89.99. Bartel Runax goes up $47.54 to $191.54 this week. Mishra's Factory, not on the reserve list. The copy we're talking about here, though, is the one you see on the screen. It's the Antiquities Winter variant. It goes up $50 this week to $315.74. And one more Kobold for good measure. This is Kobold Overlord. It goes up $69.79 to $114.16. Drop of Honey up $95.47 to $789.95. Angus Mackenzie up $109.50 to $379.49. This is the one card in the section that I felt like is being manipulated just a little bit. High grade copies are currently selling between $290 and $325, not quite $380. And the last one in the section, Living Plain, goes up $109.88 to $305.64. Again, that is pretty accurate, but I do think there's more high grade copies for sale right now, which is why it's moving up. All right, time for the Commander Spotlight. A lot to talk about. Let's jump in. Overabundance. This is a new one, up $1.01 to $2. Pretty high percentage increase, as you can see there. And this is showing up in some early decklist builds for a new Commander Legends preview card. And that card is Yurlok of Scorch Thrash. Orm's Chant from Plane Shift goes up $1.01 to $19.08. This does see some Commander play. Grand Arbiter Augustin IV up $1.06 to $22.20. This is the copy from Dissension. And this is a fairly popular Commander. Synapse Sliver, this is great for those Commander Sliver decks. It goes up $1.07 to $18.89. Avacyn Angel of Hope from Double Masters, trying to find its price point. It goes up $1.07 to $27.34 this week. Fairly popular Commander, also in a lot of different popular builds, including Kali of the Vast. Mana Vortex, I mentioned earlier that we're going to see some cards from the Dark on here. This is one of those reserve list cards from that set, going up $1.07 to $34.21. Now, this does see a little Commander play, but I think this is a panic buy. As players see certain reserve list cards spiking, especially ones from the Dark, they are trying to pick up some of the cheaper ones where they can. Unholy Grotto, this does see some play in zombie builds currently in Commander. It goes up $1.10 to $11.99. Now, another reason this could be going up is the Walking Dead Secret Lair, but I think the main catalyst could be one of the cards that was leaked for Commander Legends that, at least at time of recording, hasn't been officially previewed. That card, loosely translated from German, was Tormod the Grave Robber. So I won't tell you exactly what that card does in case you want to wait for the actual preview, but if you're interested, you might want to look it up. Muxus Goblin Grandy from Jumpstart. As you know, there are some distribution issues with that set, but this goes up $1.17 to $31.83 this week. Fairly popular Commander, also found in Krenko Mob Boss builds. That was reprinted in Jumpstart. Also sees play in Legacy Goblins. Expropriate from Conspiracy Take the Crown, up $1.27 to $22.25, recently reprinted in Mystery Boosters. The card has been soft since then, but it is rebounding a little this week. It is a highly played Commander card in a lot of builds. Stone Calendar, here's another reserve list card from the Dark. This goes up $1.27 to $29.99 this week. It does see a little Commander play, but again, I feel like this is a panic buy. Kozilek Butcher of Truth, here's the copy that's going up. It's from Rise of the Eldrazi. It goes up $1.28 to $65.01. Craterhoof Behemoth from Avacyn Restored. This did get reprinted in Jumpstart, but this original copy goes up $1.30 this week to $47.49 after losing some value. This has seen increased play in Omnith Locus of Creation, Ashaya Soul of the Wild, and more in Commander. Also, too, it sees play in Legacy Elves, and it did get a Command Zone podcast mention this week, too. Mana Vault from Revised up $1.33 to $50.50. Great vintage card, great commander card. The original Glimpse of the Unthinkable from Ravnica City of Guilds. It goes up $1.36 to $12.65. This does see some commander play, also sees play in Modern Mill. Final Fortune, the copy from 6th edition this week is creeping up $1.39 to $7.96, and generally these cards have been popular because of a Commander Legends preview. Remember, there were leaks before the previews, and this card was one of the ones that got leaked. It is Obeka, Brute Chronologist. Bloodchief Ascension up $1.39 to $21.95. This has seen increased commander play in Anawan the Rune Thief and Tiny Bones Trinket Thief builds recently. Cabal Coffers Torment goes up $1.47 to $69.88. Plane Chase up $1.55 to $76.53. This is a highly played commander card in multiple builds, great with Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, and this has seen increased play in Tiny Bones Trinket Thief decks. Corsair Captain up $1.58 to $8.97. This is from Jumpstart, so a little harder to find. Plus, it is a Pirate Lord, which gives you a treasure token when it enters the battlefield. Everything we have been seeing from Commander Legends previews tells us that this card is going to get more play in the future. Cavern of Souls from Avacyn Restored goes up a little this week, up $1.60 to $65.99. This was reprinted recently as a Zendikar Rising Expedition, but I do think with Commander Legends showing us some new tribal strategies, that could have brought some attention back onto this card. Also, it is a highly played commander card in tribal builds and more. Modern, you'll find it in Humans, Aladamri's Toolbox, Amulet Titan, and more there. And additionally, it sees Legacy and Vintage play as well. Land Tax from Double Masters, finding its price point, it goes up $1.86 to $29.99. Fantastic commander card, highly played card in white. Stitch in Time from Guild Pact, up $1.95 to $4.27. Another card moving up because of Krark the Thumbless, which we saw earlier. Currently, it does see play in Okaun and Zender split builds as well, and other places too in Commander. But remember, there is another copy of this card that's just moving up a few cents right now. It's in the Guilds of Ravnica is a guild kit. I think that one's going to take off next. Exorcist, this is from the dark and it is on the reserve list. It goes up $2.14 to $11.99. Again, it kind of feels like a panic buy to me, but it does see a little commander play. Sliver Legion from Future Sight. This card does not want to be under $100. It goes up $2.19 to $95.19 this week. Obviously great in Commander Sliver builds. Sometimes it is the Commander, other times it's part of the 99. Here's the worldwide copy of Omnith Locus of Creation. Of course, this is getting a reprint in Commander Collection Green, but this particular copy is going up $2.20 this week to $38.47. It is having a little bit of a bounce back week after it lost some value last week. It is a popular commander and now seeing increased play in builds like Omnith Locus of Creation and Ashaya Soul of the Wild. Goblin Wizard, surprise, surprise, it is a reserve list card from the dark. It goes up $2.82 to $64.43. In Commander, you will find this in Krenko Mob Boss builds, which are pretty popular. But again, I do think this is another situation where a lot of people are picking this card up because they think it's going to jump up again. Deranged Hermit from Urza's Legacy. This is on the reserve list, but it did get reprinted as a Judge Foil before they closed the loophole. It goes up $2.83 this week to $27.95. And this does see Commander play, including in a few competitive decks. Also, too, Squirrel Mob was reprinted in the list recently. Maybe that's got some people thinking about building around squirrels again. Tolarian Entrancer on the reserve list. It goes up $3.10 to $8.14, and it sees a tad bit of Commander play, but honestly, not all that much. Again, this feels like either a panic buy or maybe the start of a buyout potentially. Season of the Witch, it's from the dark. It's on the reserve list. It does go up $3.25 this week to $32.87. And again, you have a card here that sees a little commander play, but feels like it is getting swept up in all the reserve list excitement that's happening right now. This card was the target of a buyout not too long ago, so you could see people jumping on it right now because they're afraid it's going to spike again. Frankenstein's Monster, yep, you guessed it, another card from the dark on the reserve list. It goes up $4.02 this week to $12.80. Again, maybe it sees a little commander play here or there, but it feels like a panic buy or the beginning of a buyout. Insight, this one's kind of interesting. This is a solid commander card right now because it is good against lands builds. Most of the time, one of the core colors of lands builds happens to be green. Also, too, coincidentally, there were a number of different creators that featured this card in different decks this week, which could have brought more attention to it. Tempest goes up $3.05 to $4.37. 6th edition goes up $4.15 to $4.97. Frenetic Efreet, this is on the reserve list. It goes up $6.07 to $8.49, but this one is really moving because of a reason, and that reason again is Krark the Thumbless, which we saw earlier. Currently, this does see Commander play in Acoun and Zender split builds. Cover of Darkness is still hot. It goes up 610 this week to 2426. This is seeing increased commander play in Anawan the Rune Thief builds. It's also good in Yuriko the Tiger Shadow builds. Of course, that card was reprinted in Mystery Boosters not too long ago. Chance Encounter, another card moving because of Krark the Thumbless. It goes up 666 to 1499. Again, you'll find this currently in Account and Zender Split builds. Mana Web up 713 to 3049. This is on the reserve list. It does see some commander play, but again, this feels like the target of a buyout currently. Radiant Archangel on the reserve list. It goes up 967 to 3125 this week. There could be a couple different reasons for this. First, this card was bought out not too long ago. The price jumped. Since then, it's come down. And when that happens, sometimes a lot of players will jump on the card when they see the price coming down because they're afraid it's going to spike again. So it kind of ties into a panic buy type scenario. Or it could be a follow-up buyout. I mean, this is a pretty big increase. Additionally, though, the reason some people might want this card or might have learned about this card recently is because there is another Radiant in Commander Legends. This is Radiant Serra Archangel. Tombstone Stairwell, this is on the reserve list up 1104 to 2239, and this one is not just a random buyout. It could be a speculative buyout perhaps, but there is a card from Commander Legends that is moving this, and that is Thales Reverent Medium. Urborg Justice, guess what? It's on the reserve list. It goes up 1522 to 1997. That's a pretty big jump this week. Now granted, this could get better with the card we saw earlier from Commander Legends, Tevesh Zot, Doom of Fools. But this really does feel like more of a buyout, maybe a speculative buyout to me. Be careful with this one, because ultimately I don't think this is that great of a card. It does see a tad bit of commander play, and occasionally it can show up in Aura Skyclave Hierophant builds. Last Chance from Portal. Now the starter 1999 copy of this really hasn't been moving, so again, this feels like you have a situation where the particular copy has maybe either been targeted or just naturally dried up in the marketplace, but this is the one from Portal. It goes up 2432 to 49.99 this week. Now, currently, this does see a little commander play in Godo, Bandit, Warlord builds, and more, but this, of course, is moving because of the Commander Legends card we saw earlier in the video, and that is Obeka Brute Chronologist. And that brings us to the Premium Spotlight. Now, usually I don't talk too much about those rare foils and those rare promos, because if you don't have a lot of sales on a card in any given week online, you could get some bad data. Worst case scenario, that data can be manipulated. But this week, I actually have a number of foils I wanted to point out because they felt like they were moving mostly naturally with the market. So let's just jump in. They're all cards we talked about previously in the video, so I won't give you a lot of details. Synapse Sliver from Legions. The foil copy goes up $5.99 to $64.99. Admiral Beckett Brass. The pre-release foil goes up $4.96 to $44.95. The Ixalan foil goes up $6.42 to $28.99. Scheming Symmetry, check this out. Pre-release foil up $9.77 to $16.75. The Core Set 2020 foil up $10.45 to $17.45. The Promo Pack foil up $12.21 to $16.99. And the Promo Pack non-foil up $15.18 to $18.48. Overabundance, the foil from Invasion jumped $20.23 to $34.97. Glint Horn Buccaneer, the Promo Pack non-foil up $2.23 to $4.21. The Core Set 2020 foil up $3.51 to $17.25. The Promo Pack foil up $13.25 to $15, and the pre-release foil up $23.33 to $25.99. Chance Encounter foil from Odyssey up $33.66 to $51.61. Krark's Thumb, the foil from Meriden, up $36.63 to $64.95. Marlin of the Mornsong, the foil from Morningtide, goes up $73.68 to $99.99. And finally, Stitch in Time from Guild Pack, that foil goes up $91.13 to $99.99 as well. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of the Market Watch. If you stuck with me this whole time, thank you very much. Until next time, stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.